Well, I know the type of fighter he is. He likes to take on again hard challenges. Um, but I'm gonna give him that regret feeling that he should have taken a warm-up fight.
In your mind, I know we said about breaking Errol, but in your mind, you must feel like this doesn't see 12 rounds on your side.
For sure. That's what I'm going for. I think
Oh, that's really
stylistically, it's the last hurrah for Errol Spence. So get in and watch
Yeah.
his last fight.
But you plan, I guess, a plan for a retirement plan, would you say? For
Of
yourself?
course, if he's already talking about holidays and retirement plans, then this is his last goodbye.
Tim Tszyu has more of the style that made Errol Spence Jr. the boogeyman.
As anticipation continues to build, Tim Tszyu has delivered his strongest warning yet. The former world champion didn't just predict victory over Errol Spence Jr., he vowed to hurt him. Tszyu's bold message has sparked fresh debate over how he would match up against Spence and whether the former champion could handle the pressure inside the ring.
In your mind, I know we said about breaking Errol, but in your mind, you must feel like this doesn't see 12 rounds on your side.
For sure. That's what I'm going for.
Adding another layer to that discussion, the analyst emphasized that Tim Tszyu is far from a tune-up opponent, describing him as a highly skilled fighter despite his recent setbacks. He acknowledged that Tszyu's losses, particularly being stopped, affected his momentum, but insisted his overall ability and danger in the ring should not be underestimated.
Tim Tszyu ain't a tune-up.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? He's actually a very skillful fighter. He just has some losses now. Losing the front door, getting stopped or whatever, that hurt him a lot. And
offering his assessment, Terrence Crawford acknowledged that he wasn't completely certain about the outcome, but expressed respect for both Errol Spence Jr. and Tim Tszyu, recognizing the high level each has reached. While noting that both fighters have absorbed significant punishment during their careers, he suggested that Spence's overall skill set could ultimately give him the edge in the matchup. Rolando Romero saw things differently. He backed Tim Tszyu to defeat Errol Spence Jr., making it clear he favored Tszyu in the matchup.
I'm not, 100% confident, I just know, the caliber of fighter that Errol is, just like I know the caliber fighter of Tim. I think both of them have taken a lot of damage in their career so far, but I just think, Errol skill-wise, just edge.
Yes.
Romero also looked beyond the fight by expressing his desire to face Spence himself, adding another intriguing storyline to the discussion surrounding Spence's comeback.
Just in regards to the weight for this fight, Tim.
Oh yeah, 158. I can't complain.
The fight's up 58.
158.
Oh, you're...
Yeah.
Can I get the leftovers?
Of course.
Tim.
Of course. Oh, yes,
That confidence in Tszyu was echoed by Tassie Brown, who backed Tim Tszyu to defeat Errol Spence Jr., predicting the fight would end inside 9 rounds. Brown stressed that his opinion wasn't based on friendship, but on his belief that Tszyu recognized the magnitude of the opportunity. With Spence being the marquee name Tim had pursued for years, Brown believed Tszyu would rise to the occasion and deliver a statement victory.
And I do believe Tim will beat Spence. I'm not saying it because he's a friend and I want him to do it. I believe that Tim Tszyu will beat Errol Spence. I believe that he'll stop him inside 9 rounds. I'm not taking nothing away from Errol, but I think Tim knows he's got, this is it. Career's on the line here. You got the big fish, a name that you wanted for a long time.
Not everyone, however, was ready to count Spence out. Fannin pointed out that Errol Spence Jr.'s performance would largely depend on his recovery and whether his ability to absorb punches had returned to full strength. He suggested that if Spence wasn't as durable as before, Tim Tszyu could make it a very difficult fight for him. However, Fannin also noted Spence's clear speed advantage, explaining that if he stayed defensively sharp and avoided taking heavy shots, he had the tools to outbox Tszyu over the course of the fight.
Errol depends on, how much recovery Errol has really made to his mind, his brain synapses, if they've had a chance to heal, and, see if he can, see if he's as punchy and, able to take the punches. If he's not able to take the punches consistently, then, man, it's going to be a tough fight on him with Tim Tszyu. However, one thing I will say about the difference I think I see between Errol and Tim Tszyu is that Errol Spence Jr. is a lot faster than Tim Tszyu. So if Errol is able to, to employ solid defense and he's well able to prevent any real major big shots from landing, and he just outboxes Tim Tszyu, I think he can outbox Tim Tszyu.
A similar belief came from Ronnie Shields, who dismissed the idea that Errol Spence Jr. would return as a diminished fighter, insisting he would come back better than ever. Shields explained that the extended time away had allowed Spence's body to fully recover, adding that he looked sharp, strong, and fluid in training. He also praised Spence's defense and punching mechanics, expressing confidence that those doubting him would be proven wrong when he returned to the ring.
But everybody's right who say he's not going to be the same. He's going to be better, so much better than he ever was. You know, his body is well rested. He feels really good. You know, everything is going great. And as you saw today, you know, his punches are fluid. You know, he's strong, and he's throwing the punches the way I think he should throw them. And, you know, defense is looking good. So everything is going great. And, hey, everybody that's thinking he don't have anything left, just wait.
Later in the discussion, Roy Jones Jr. described the matchup as a defining opportunity for both Errol Spence Jr. and Tim Tszyu as they look to reassert themselves among boxing's elite. While he recognized Tszyu's punching power as a genuine threat, he pointed out that Spence has built his career against some of the sport's hardest hitters, making the fight extremely difficult to predict.
Tszyu in Australia, what are your thoughts there?
I think it's a really good fight too. The good thing about the fight is that they both on the way back up, they're on the rebound. So he's a rebound guy fighting another rebound guy, which makes it kind of equal, but Tim Tszyu is a hard puncher. So we'll have to see what happens. I think Earl is used to dealing with hard punchers, but we'll see what happens.
Roy Jones also praised Spence for choosing a dangerous opponent instead of taking an easier comeback fight. He viewed that decision as a reflection of Spence's confidence and championship mentality, adding that, despite both fighters being at different stages of their careers, the matchup remains one of the most compelling contests on the boxing calendar.
And I think it's a smart return because it's also against a guy who was on the way up there, who made it to the top, but had some struggles, and now he's on the incline trying to get back up too. So it's two guys trying to get back up. I think it's a great situation. But the biggest thing I gotta say that I love about Errol Spence is that Earl don't want no easy fights. Earl don't want to fight guys that are nobody.
He AKA somebody. No tune-up.
No,
he don't want no
tune-up. He wants challenges. You understand me? He wants challenges. And for him to challenge a person like Tim Tszyu, when Tim Tszyu has been regularly fighting for the last 3 years, he's been not doing much. That says a lot about Earl, but that tells you exactly how much fight is still left in Earl. Earl is a guy who's always coming to the party to dance. He don't have time to play no games. And you gotta love that about Earl.
Meanwhile, Teofimo Lopez threw his support behind Errol Spence Jr., describing the matchup with Tim Tszyu as one of the fights he most wanted to see. Lopez also praised Spence's dedication in training, pointing out that he appeared to be in outstanding condition as he prepared for the challenge ahead.
It's a dream come true. Errol Spence, Australia, Tim Tszyu, heck yeah. I really want to see him win. So I think Errol Spence has been truly like non-stop working out. He already looks like he's in shape now.
Expanding on that, Sean Porter highlighted Errol Spence Jr.'s complete boxing ability, pointing to his accuracy, ring awareness, and control of distance as qualities that separate him from most opponents. Porter contrasted that with Tim Tszyu's aggressive, come-forward approach, suggesting that Spence has historically performed at his highest level against fighters with that kind of style.
Like, the dude really is special, and I know
he's not Dennis Nurture.
I know these things about him. Like, he has the ability to see your balance and make you move. You know what I mean? Like, he's really like one of those master kung fu artists, but in boxing. You know what I mean? So he's a masterful boxer. You know? And so those are the kind of things that we're looking at Tim Tszyu that doesn't have that kind of style. Tim Tszyu has more of the style that made Errol Spence Jr. the boogeyman.
Adding his perspective, Eric Gomez emphasized that Errol Spence Jr. has never shied away from elite competition throughout his career. However, he noted that returning to face a dangerous opponent like Tim Tszyu after an extended absence raises legitimate questions. Gomez explained that long layoffs can affect a fighter's timing, sharpness, and overall comfort under fight conditions, making Spence's return one of the biggest unknowns heading into the matchup.
Errol has always been a fun fighter. He's always challenged himself. He's always taken hard, tough ask. Like, you look at this fight with Tim Tszyu, right? The man has been on a 3-year layoff. Do you know what a layoff is? That means he hasn't been in the ring for 3 years. He's virtually almost been domesticated. Now, they say fighting is probably like riding a bike, but it's a little bit different when you haven't done it in 3 years. You don't know how you're going to respond to getting hit flush. You got millions of people watching, cameras watching and rolling. You don't know. That could be highly embarrassing.
Despite those concerns, the analyst viewed Tim Tszyu as an ideal opponent for Errol Spence Jr.'s return, predicting that Spence would have too much for him. He believed the extended layoff had benefited Spence, allowing him to recover and reset, and expected him to return with one of the strongest performances of his career.
And I think Tim Tszyu's a perfect fight. I'll say it right now, and you can take it to the bank. I'm just saying,
Take it to the bank.
I think Errol Spence would be too much for Tim Tszyu. I think this break is going to serve Errol Spence well. I'm so keen on that. I just think that he needed this break, and we're going to see a great version of Errol Spence.
From the Tszyu camp's perspective, Nikita Tszyu viewed the matchup as one of the toughest fights to call, believing both fighters had just as much at stake. He explained that each man was fighting to revive momentum and make a major statement, leaving virtually no margin for error. In his view, the contest would ultimately be decided by which fighter handled the pressure and delivered when it mattered most.
Yeah, it's a great fight. Both of them are in a position in their careers where it's the biggest, it's either like sink or swim for both of them. It's a hard fight for both of them. I genuinely think it's like a 50-50. There's a lot on the line, and I think they're really going to bring it, both of them.
Offering a different viewpoint, Radio Raheem believed Tim Tszyu would have to remain emotionally disciplined throughout the fight. He explained that the contest could quickly turn into a tactical battle where frustration becomes a weapon, warning that if Tszyu abandoned his composure and chased exchanges recklessly, he could walk into sharp counters and give his opponent openings to take control.
Putting Tszyu on notice, this is not some ceremony fight. It's putting himself on notice that we're not taking the soft edge either. We're gonna needle this guy and tune him up and maybe make him angry enough to fight outside of his best interest. You know, he might be baiting him into being angry because he will definitely run him into those jabs, run him into his right hands if Tszyu is too over-aggressive.
Adding his assessment, Sean Zittel acknowledged that Tim Tszyu has experienced some inconsistency in recent outings, but believes the overall matchup favors him. After weighing factors such as size, the jab, and current form, Zittel moved away from initially favoring Errol Spence Jr. He ultimately concluded that Tszyu's sharper punching and stronger recent performances give him the advantage heading into the fight.
Tszyu seems to, in spots since the first Fundora fight, have some hiccups. So I added all that up, the size, the jab, I thought maybe Spence will win this fight off this layoff. I'm not thinking that right now. I'm thinking Tim Tszyu's gonna win the fight, and he's a sharper puncher right now based on their last times out.
Closing out the analysis, Joel Camilleri focused on the defensive side of Tim Tszyu's game, believing it could be a decisive factor against Errol Spence Jr. He explained that the matchup would largely hinge on Spence's condition upon returning, noting that a fully refreshed Spence would present a far greater challenge. Regardless, Camilleri emphasized that Tszyu must sharpen his defense to maximize his chances of success.
I just really hope that Tim's going to work on the defense, because yes, he can beat Errol Spence, depending where Errol Spence is at right now. Spence at his best is a dangerous fighter. But if Spence comes back, not as good as he kind of was, Tim is up and ready to go. He can beat him, but my only worry is defense.
As the fight draws closer, the debate only continues to grow. Some believe Errol Spence Jr.'s experience, skill, and championship pedigree will be the difference, while others see Tim Tszyu's pressure, power, and hunger leading him to a career-defining victory. In the end, every prediction will be put to the test once the opening bell rings. Who do you think wins this showdown? Let us know your prediction in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more boxing news, interviews, and fight breakdowns. Thanks for watching.